Beneath Powder and Steel. Chapter 1, The Gilded Cage. In the waning autumn of 1774, in the heart of a trembling empire, Lady Elira Vane lived behind high gates, marble columns and the suffocating weight of lineage. Born to Lord Vane, a nobleman whose influence had thinned alongside his fortune, Elira's future was mortgaged in exchange for political survival. She had been promised to the Duke of Deverick, a man twice her age, thrice her ambition and void of affection. Her days were measured in embroidery, French recitations and tightly laced gowns, yet her mind roamed free. In secret she penned poetry under a false name. At twilight she crept to the West Wing's forgotten library and read books banned from her education. To the world she was a future duchess. To herself she was a bird preparing to snap her own cage open. Chapter 2, The Branded Captain. Lucien Ardent had once worn the Empire's uniform with pride. As captain, he had led battalions across frostbitten ridges and bloodied fields, earning accolades and scars in equal measure. But when ordered to raise a civilian village suspected of housing rebels, he refused. For that he was condemned. He fled with nothing but his saber, a stolen map, and the ache of his brother's death still raw in his chest. Now branded a traitor, he lived beneath assumed names, sheltering among smugglers and sympathizers, always one misstep from the gallows. But he had not ceased to fight, only changed the battlefield. Chapter 3, A Dance of Masks. Their worlds collided at a masquerade thrown by the Marquis of Iveland. Under candlelight and chandeliers, silk skirts twirled, and secrets hid behind velvet masks. Elira, masked in indigo and silver, wandered alone onto the terrace. There she met a stranger whose presence was like a blade wrapped in silk. Lucien, under false identity, was gathering information, not hearts. But something in her gaze disarmed him more than any musket ever had. They exchanged no names, only glances, and a dance that felt like the world holding its breath. Chapter 4, Threads of Fire. That night haunted them both. Elira began finding messages hidden in books, sealed in wax, inked in code. Lucien, suspecting she might be more than a socialite, sent her warnings of upcoming raids. Their connection grew not in sunlight but in shadows, in stolen letters, covert glances across crowded halls, and hurried touches in empty corridors. As political tensions grew, so did the risk. Elira discovered her fiancé's plans to expose rebel sympathizers through forced confessions and staged trials. She realized her marriage would make her complicit in tyranny. Torn between family and conscience, she faced a choice: loyalty or truth. Chapter 5, Ashes and Oaths. A failed raid led by Lucien resulted in the capture of several innocents. Rumors swirled that one of the informants was from the nobility. Lucien, betrayed and hunted, confronted Elira, only to discover she had hidden him at great personal risk. Their bond, once fragile, solidified in the face of fire. They plotted an escape together, not from the city but from the fates imposed on them. Elira risked her name and inheritance. Lucien, his life and what little remained of his honor. In secret, they planned to obtain letters that proved Deverick's involvement in war crimes. Chapter 6, The Price of Freedom. On a storm-lashed night, they broke into Deverick's estate. Amid tapestries and portraits, they uncovered damning evidence. But guards intercepted them. In the scuffle, Elira was wounded and Lucien nearly captured. They fled through servant tunnels, bloodied and breathless. 4 days they hid in the ruins of a monastery, Elira's fever rising. Lucien nursed her with stolen herbs, his hands shaking not from fear, but from the growing realization that he could not lose her. When she awoke, their eyes met not with fear but a vow unspoken: we are all we have now. Chapter 7, Beneath Powder and Steel. Word of rebellion stirred beyond the capital. Using the stolen letters, Lucien and Elira coordinated with insurgents. A speech Elira wrote, published under her pseudonym, ignited outrage in the provinces. Their love, once a quiet fire, became a rallying flame. But the empire strikes hardest when it bleeds. Deverick, desperate, set a trap. He offered amnesty to rebels if Lucien surrendered. Knowing the cost, Lucien agreed, only if Elira was spared. He was taken in chains. She watched from the shadows, lips trembling but silent. Chapter 8, A Kingdom in Ashes. Yet the flame could not be extinguished. Elira exposed the documents publicly at Deverick's trial. Her own name burned in the process. The people rose. Riots spilled through the city like a tide no army could contain. Deverick was denounced. The monarchy faltered. Lucien escaped during the chaos, aided by allies who once called him traitor. He returned to Elira not in triumph but in disbelief. They met again not as fugitives, but as architects of a freer world. Chapter 9, After the Storm. Months passed. The crown lost its power. A new assembly rose. Lucien walked openly for the first time in years. Elira, no longer a lady, now taught girls to read and debate. Their love, forged in war, lived in peace. In the quiet of an orchard they planted together, Lucien once whispered, "We lived beneath powder and steel. Now we plant roots." And for once nothing was chasing them.